Carson Beck is entering the NFL draft. We need to talk about what that means for Georgia, especially ahead of their game just in a few days against Notre Dame, and what that means for the future of the Georgia quarterback legacy, starting with Gunnar Stockton. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, or your 1,000th, there are over 6,000 segments, I think, on this show, consider hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell, and liking this video, because you don't want to miss any of the instant reaction that we do when topical news, big news, some news drops all over college football. Do a pretty good job keeping up with it. Go deep into the weeds. Talk about games, talk about players, talk about what we think is going to happen and why we think it's going to happen. Leave me a comment below. Tell me whether or not you think Carson Beck entering the NFL draft was the best way for him to exit the sport, or should he have taken his 1 year of eligibility and maybe transferred or even competed for the starting job next year. I think that given what we know about Carson Beck already, and given what we know about name, image, and likeness, the nature of transferring, and what we know about the quarterback room at Georgia, this might have been the safest move of all the moves that were probably open to Carson Beck, who suffered an injury in the SEC championship game when he got his elbow ran into by someone, well, actually just hit his arm, right, and busted up the ulnar joint in his elbow, which led to him having to have surgery. It was season-ending surgery in that game. Gunnar Stockton plays the second half, and frankly, Georgia looked like a better football team. He gave them an aspect of mobility and speed on the perimeter that, frankly, Carson Beck just doesn't have. And he throws a really great football. And now you've seen all these things that have come out about what kind of a player Gunnar Stockton is. And let's start with the records that Deshaun Watson had in the state of Georgia high school football were broken by Trevor Lawrence. And those records were broken by Gunnar Stockton. This dude is an American tall tale. He comes out of Tiger, Georgia, which is 2,000 feet above elevation, right? And his daddy is pretty damn good. His relationship with Mike Bobo goes all the way back to, he was going to go to South Carolina. Mike Bobo was at South Carolina. He went to Georgia. He's going there. And to think about how he got his name is also very cool, right? He's named for his grandfather. His grandfather is VD. You can understand why. Well, first, I'm glad they didn't name him VD, but VD made it into the local paper as Gunnar Stockton because he was one of the dudes that was in that Memphis Bill Company pulling pins on bombers as they were flying through World War II. So Gunnar became how his grandfather was known, and that is basically the name that they decided to go with. Not basically, is the name they decided to go with, even though VD is his given name. I like Gunnar Stockton as a Georgia quarterback because that just feels right on the money. Also looks like an outstanding dude, and people have had nothing but good things to say about him. The Gunnar Stockton era is very much right now. The question that I have is, can he lead this team to the national championship and win it, be Georgia's third in 4 years after going 40 years without a national championship? And how would he be able to do it, right? Last year, we saw Carson Beck play his best. 3,900 yards passing, 72% completion, a lot of TDs, fewer interceptions. This year was up and down and not really great. I'm not sure how the NFL would feel about him because he's going to make rehab. He's probably not going to go through pro day. He may not even go through the NFL combine physical stuff except get measured. But he is supposed to have full range of motion and the use of his elbow and arm back by the spring of 2025, which means that he'd be okay in time for rookie camp, we think. But that's Carson Beck. Behind Gunnar Stockton, I have more questions, right? Because if you look at the depth chart, it says Ryan Puglisi or Jaden Rashada. I think today you might go with Puglisi. Tomorrow you might go with Rashada. We've seen Rashada play. That needs to be said. We've seen Rashada play at Arizona State, and when he was healthy, he was really, really damn good out there. Great football player. Puglisi's got tremendous upside. I mean, we're talking about a dude that played in the area code games and an Elite 11. There's like 3 quarterbacks that have ever done that. Brandon McElwain and Archie Bradley. Archie Bradley still pitches in the major leagues today. And then In 2025, you got Ryan Montgomery coming in, who's another outstanding player, right? It was really like him and or Julian Lewis. I think are two of the top 2025 prospects at quarterback. There's a few more there, right? Tavian St. Clair at Ohio State. There's more. But I think you got a really great room. The thing that I'm going to be curious about is if something should happen to Gunnar Stockton, which quarterback do we see first? Do we see Jaden Rashada? Do we see Puglisi? And how much would that impact their view of themselves, our view of them, and frankly, their view of maybe winning the job in 2025? Because if Gunnar Stockton wins the national championship, he's going to be the starting quarterback at Georgia in September, August, as it were. But if he does not, or he looks bad, or they get beat by Notre Dame, there might be some moving and shaking here. And this also needs to be said that Kirby Smart has made a habit of not really playing the most talented quarterback in his quarterback room just because of age and seniority. This is so true with Jake Fromm and Justin Fields, right? And it's been a while since we have seen a DJ Shockley play quarterback at Georgia, but I think Jaden Rashada has the opportunity to win that job, just not with Gunnar Stockton having this relationship with Mike Bobo that he does. It might be a third place for Jaden Rashada to go, and there should be places that really want him and he can help. I think right now we just want to know who's the number two, and we won't really get an answer to that till they play him, right? You could tell me what it is on the depth chart. I'm still not going to believe you until something needs to happen where Gunnar Stockton either blows out Notre Dame or someone like them, and we get to see someone come up and mop up duty, or the worst should happen and we see a third quarterback playing in the playoffs at Georgia. Either way, I think Georgia ought to feel good about this. Wish Carson Beck well. He's still going to be part of the team. He's still going to do his, root, rah. But I think right now you need him to be your best quarterback coach for Gunnar Stockton and see if you can't ride this thing out and win a national championship, or at least have been the quarterback that helped lead this team to a national championship, which is what he came to do. That might be the thing, right? He wanted to win a national championship as starting quarterback at Georgia. That's what it was about. He still has that opportunity. Let's see if they can finish.